UFC 321 takes place this weekend, and in this video, I'm going to be giving you my exact predictions for how I think every fight in the card is going to play out, so let's get into the picks. As always, I like to look at my past week's performance to see what we can improve upon, and at UFC Vancouver, nearly every underdog won, so going 7-6 on picks actually put me in the top percentile on Tapology. I picked Azamat Bikoyev. I thought he was just going to go out there and stomp Usury. Turns out, fraud check. Danny Barlow I picked as well. Fraud checked again. Two-time, double-time fraud check for Danny Barlow. 2 fights in a row. 2 guys on the prelims that were minus 300 go out there, fraud stomped. We also had Cody Gibson by decision. Gets knocked out in the very first exchange, a la Damon Blackshear and Montel Jackson. That was fun. Davey Grant, I took a shot, underdog. I had no real reasoning behind him. I didn't even bet him. And he goes out there and gets starched by Charles Jourdain. Very shocking outcome. Kevin Holland, I knew that was a questionable take. But if I picked Mike Malott, I also thought that was going to be questionable. And I feel like Mike Malott only really won because he destroyed Kevin Holland's nutsack. And Reinier de Ridder, I actually made a very good argument for Brendan Allen winning that fight. I thought the cardio would just be what made Reinier de Ridder win. Turns out the cardio is actually what made Reinier de Ridder lose. He quits on the stool after round 4, giving Brendan Allen a late KO victory. As for the bets, when you go 7-6 on a card like this, you would expect to lose money. Well, I was down 0.16 units. Not the worst, not the best. If we're going to have a losing card, I'd rather, lose 0.16 units. So hopefully this week we right the ship. I'm sensing a lot of value on this card, so let's get into it. First fight on the card is Jaqueline Amorim taking on Mizuki Inoue. On first glance, there's actually a lot to like about the plus 330 underdog Mizuki Inoue. She's got 85% takedown defense. She's never been submitted in her career. She's never been knocked out in her career. All her losses are by decision, but she has not fought in 2 years. She's fighting a high-level grappler, and all of her submission wins are by armbar, which means all of her sub-wins come when she's actually on bottom. And I sincerely doubt Jaqueline Amorim is going to get caught in some type of armbar. I would have leaned Mizuki if I thought her striking was good. I think it's decent. I don't think it's on Sam Hughes level striking. So if her striking isn't at that level, I'm just not picking against Amorim. She's got 10 finish wins in her 10 fights, and for a women's mixed martial artist, that is insanely impressive. I'm just concerned if it stays standing because she doesn't look good on the feet. But I think she will ultimately get the takedowns, and I'm actually giving Mizuki a little credit. I'm going with Jaqueline Amorim to win this by decision. I actually just don't think she'll find the sub. Mizuki looks pretty defensively sound on the ground. I think Amorim will land some ground and pound, just control her, and just win an easy decision. Next fight on the card is Azat Maksum taking on Mitch Raposo. Azat Maksum, he's a well-rounded mixed martial artist. He's got 4 KOs, 5 submission wins, 5 decision wins. He has the ability to mix in takedowns. He has the ability to outstrike you on the feet. He throws with a lot of volume. And Mitch Raposo's path to victory here is going to be get takedowns. This guy surrendered 0 takedowns against Tagir Ulanbekov, who's 10 times the wrestler that Mitch Raposo is. So I just simply see no path to victory for Mitch Raposo other than landing some type of big shot on the feet that wobbles Azat. Maybe he can land some takedowns in rounds 2 or 3, turn the tide in his favor. But outside of those outside chances, I'm not liking Mitch Raposo's chances of winning this fight whatsoever. I'm going with Azat Maksum to win by decision. He's going to be the way bigger fighter. He's going to throw with more volume on the feet. He can even land takedowns of his own, and he's got ironclad takedown defense. So I simply see no way Mitch Raposo wins this fight. Next fight on the card is Chris Barnett taking on Hamdy Abdelwahab. Chris Barnett is a supreme meme fighter. Now, that just means that he has no real skill that you can sink your teeth into. It's not like he has insane KO power for the heavyweight division. He doesn't have insane takedown upside, insane grappling. He's more just there fighting. And round 1, Chris Barnett is going to come out firing. Round 1, Chris Barnett is a problem. Now, Hamdy Abdelwahab, 4-1 MMA record. He will have the size advantage, and he's also never been finished, and he's been way more active than Chris Barnett, considering he's fought multiple times in the past year. Chris Barnett is coming off that injury he suffered against Kennedy Nzechukwu about a year ago. So everything on paper would make you lean Hamdy Abdelwahab to win this fight. But I also think Hamdy is a meme fighter himself. I don't think he's got KO power. The only finish he's had came against Dontel Mays, I believe, and in that one he popped for roids. Ever since popping for roids, he's looked completely mid in the octagon. He looked mid against Jamal Pogues. He looked mid against Muhammad Usman. And I think when you put Chris Barnett up against someone who's mid at the heavyweight level, Chris Barnett can actually have some success. So for those reasons, I'm going with Chris Barnett to win by decision. I can see Chris Barnett knocking this guy out in the first 2 rounds, to be honest, as well. Hamdy just doesn't throw with power. He doesn't mix in takedowns as much as I'd like him to. So what does he actually do? I don't really know. I know it's in Abu Dhabi. Maybe Hamdy gets an Abu Dhabi buff from the judges. Maybe it's like a 29-28 split, Hamdy's favor. But if you give me plus 350 on a guy who's probably not going to get finished by his opponent and can probably land some good stuff on him, I'm going with Chris Barnett. Next fight on the card is Jose Delgado taking on Nathaniel Wood. All of the extraneous reasons should make you think that Nathaniel Wood wins this matchup. He's 8-2 to the decision. Jose Delgado, 0-1. He has fought in way more UFC fights. He's got the humongous UFC experience edge. Jose Delgado's, this is his 3rd UFC fight, I believe. But if we're going to take away that, and we're just going to put these two fighters, face to face, you put them in the octagon, what's going to happen? Well, Delgado, 5-inch height advantage, 4-inch reach advantage. He's going to throw with more volume on the feet, and he can even mix in offensive takedowns of his own. I know Nathaniel Wood can do that. Nathaniel Wood also throws with good volume. But Jose Delgado, he's going to have the power edge, I believe, as well. So I think he can land something big on Wood. I think he can go for takedowns on Wood. I think this is actually Jose Delgado's fight to lose. I'm just very supportive of this guy as a prospect. He just knocked out Hyder Amil in round 1. No one was really expecting that. And I think Nathaniel Wood has a similar build to Hyder Amil. So I think Jose Delgado might just simply have a field day in this matchup. I'm going with Jose Delgado to win by decision. I think it's actually very sheepish to take him by decision. All of his wins are by finish, so you might think he might go out there and finish Nathaniel Wood, but I think he's going to have moments of success in there where he nears a finish but doesn't ultimately get it. Nathaniel Wood also struggles with takedowns a lot, so if Jose Delgado decides to make that his full game plan, I think he'll have a lot of success. So Jose Delgado, by any means, I'm saying a decision. Next fight on the card is Valter Walker taking on Louie Sutherland. Louie Sutherland, not that good. He's fought at PFL, he's fought at Bellator, he has high-level fight experience, but you watch him fight, he's not throwing with big power, he's not throwing with big volume, he's not really mixing in elite takedowns to the extent I would like him to, and honestly, I just see another Valter Walker heel hook victim. He has 3 round 1 heel hooks in a row at the UFC level. Louie Sutherland is a step down in competition. Valter Walker should submit this man in round number 1. I have no reason to think he doesn't. See ya. Next fight on the card is Al-Selwady taking on Matheus Camilo. This is actually a very funny matchup because both of these guys have multiple losses, and the losses are all by finish. Al-Selwady, 15-4. 4 KO losses. Matheus Camilo, 9-3, 3 submission losses. So, the paths are pretty clear for both fighters on how they're supposed to win this fight. Al-Selwady has to activate the grappling and submit the Brazilian, or Camilo has to keep the fight standing and knock out the chinniest guy seemingly on the roster. 4 KO losses is quite insane when you only have 4 losses. Matheus Camilo, he was minus 200 against Gabe Green, was completely winning that fight with the grappling, and then completely gassed out and gave Gabe Green his neck. Can that happen in this fight? Well, I think Matheus Camilo is going to come out with a much different game plan. He came out very takedown-oriented against Gabe Green. I think in this one, he knows what he needs to do to win. Just keep it standing, don't get taken down at will by Al-Selwady, and you will eventually find the finish. So for all those reasons, I'm going with Matheus Camilo, the underdog, to win by knockout. I like him a lot because he actually beat that guy, Noshagov, whatever his name is, the guy that asked Dana White to sign him to the UFC. Dana White said, okay, rather than me just signing you, why don't you fight this Matheus Camilo guy? And Matheus Camilo made easy work of him. And that fight, Nurmagomedov went for a lot of takedowns and did not really have a lot of success. I think that guy has better takedowns than Al-Selwady. So If Al-Selwady's not getting the takedown, he's cooked, I think, in my opinion. Next fight on the card is Matheus Rębecki taking on Ľudovít Klein. This is basically a battle of two guys that have scummed me very hard in the past. We got Matheus Rębecki. He scummed me against Diego Ferreira. He scummed me against Chris Duncan. And we got Ľudovít Klein, who scummed me big time against Matheus Gamrot. So when you put them up against each other, what's going to happen? Well, Klein's got the 7-inch reach advantage. Klein's got the ability to mix in takedowns. And I think, honestly, Klein has more power on the feet. But Matheus Rębecki, he can also mix in takedowns. He's going to throw at double the volume on the feet. He will move forward. And as an underdog, he's 1-0 in the UFC. Whenever they've given him a plus money price tag, the bookies are sleeping because he's won every time. It's only been once, but he's won every time. He does have T-Rex arms, so he's always going to have the short reach. I don't like that. But Ľudovít Klein just got completely worked by Matheus Gamrot over 3 rounds. Taken down at will, 6 takedowns allowed, and Matheus Rębecki, if he follows the game plan of his Matheus brother, he should win this fight. Matheus Rębecki is going to shoot for takedowns, loads of them. Ľudovít Klein is going to try to keep this fight standing, and if he doesn't, he's going to look really bad. And even if Klein keeps the fight standing, I'm not completely convinced he's actually a much better striker than Matheus Rębecki. So for all those reasons, Rębecki as an underdog, you need to pick whenever you see it. I mean, he's always minus 200, minus 300. Now he's plus 130 against a guy who's equally as untrustworthy. I'll take Matheus Rębecki at dog odds. Next fight on the card is Ikram Aliskerov taking on Jung Park. I've researched this fight. I've gone back and forth, and honestly, I just don't know how Ikram Aliskerov loses this fight. I do have reasons to pick Jung Park. He mixes in takedowns. Ikram's got ironclad takedown defense. He took down Brad Tavares twice, who also has ironclad takedown defense. So maybe if we see Ikram on his back, he actually might look bad. We've yet to see Ikram taken down in the UFC. And if Jung Park lands takedowns, maybe Ikram might gas out. Maybe Ikram might get submitted. Maybe Ikram will look bad. But outside of tinfoil hat theory, Ikram has every advantage to win this fight. He's going to be the way bigger fighter, the way longer fighter, the way more powerful fighter, considering he's landed a knockdown in his last 3 wins, and he's going to be the more volume striker. He lands with double the volume that Jung Park does on the feet, and the last time Jung Park fought someone that had similar power to Ikram, he got starched bad by RoboCop. So I'm going with Ikram Aliskerov to win this fight by knockout. No offense to the Iron Turtle. I love him, especially at plus 205. It sounds crazy to fade him, but I also love Ikram Aliskerov, and I think this is a great matchup for him. I just don't think Jung Park has good striking, and if he can't get the takedown, he is cooked. Next fight on the card is Nasrat Haqparast taking on Quillan Selkield. We got a very interesting matchup here. Nasrat Haqparast has tremendous loads of UFC experience, so for that alone, you might just side with him because of that. But if you're looking at style for style, we got Nasrat, who's mainly a striker who can mix in grappling, versus Quillan, who's mainly a grappler who can mix in the striking. Who do you lean just off that alone? I lean Selkield. I like it when someone goes out there and shoots for infinite takedowns and their cardio holds. Quillan has done that. He's shot for, 20 takedowns in 2 of his 3 UFC fights outside of his round 1 knockout over Anshul Jubilee. This guy is committed to the takedown. This guy is committed to winning. Quillan's also going to be way bigger in the octagon, way longer, and according to striking numbers, he throws 2 and he takes 1. His striking defense is on point. As for Nasrat, he throws 1 and takes 1. So he's not throwing with the same volume as Quillan. He doesn't have the same striking defense as Quillan. And Quillan has the takedowns to go to in his back pocket to win this fight if it gets to the scorecards, which I think it will at a high clip. So for all those reasons, I'm going with Quillan Selkield. I'm saying he's an underdog because I think the line is moving towards Nasrat's side. I understand taking Nasrat. He's won multiple decisions in the UFC. He's fought the better brand of competition. I get all that. And he has an 84% takedown defense. But he's just fighting on way too razor-thin margins. And I think Quillan will do enough in the judge's eyes to take home this victory, mixing in the takedowns, landing the bigger shots. Next fight on the card is Alexander Rakic taking on Azamat Murzakanov. When first looking at this fight, I kind of leaned Alexander Rakic, but the more I look into it, the more I'm like, oh no, I cannot possibly take this man because he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Don't love that. Major durability concerns because in 2 of those 3 fights, he lost by a TKO. One of them was a leg injury, and one of them was a straight-up knockout by Jerry Prohaska. The leg injury is concerning because Rakic lands a lot of leg kicks. Half of his significant strikes every fight are from leg kicks. Rakic can win this fight by kicking Azamat's legs. He's going to have a 5-inch height advantage, 7-inch reach advantage. I can see Alexander just chopping away at the tree for 3 rounds, winning a decision. But Azamat just seems to fight like his nickname, which is the professional. He goes out there and gets the job done. He's 6-0 in the UFC with 5 KOs, landed a knockdown in all 6 of his UFC fights, and he's going to throw with more volume than Rakic. He's going to have better striking defense, and he's even beaten people in the UFC that have the same game plan as Rakic, which is chop the legs. He made easy work of Dustin Jacoby, who I think is actually a more powerful striker than Rakic, and Dustin Jacoby landed, I think, 20 leg kicks in that fight. So for all those reasons, Azamat, yes, he's smaller, but he's going to be way more powerful, and I think at some point he lands something big. I'm going with Azamat Murzakanov to win this fight by knockout. I'm saying round number 2. I just think Rakic's, prime is over. He's taken way too much damage. Azamat undefeated, 0 damage. Give me Azamat. Next fight on the card is Alexander Volkov taking on Jailton Almeida. I think this fight is very easy to break down. We've seen Volkov taken down 14 times by Curtis Blades, 2 times by Tom Aspinall, 2 times by Ciryl Gane. If Jailton Almeida has anything similar to that level of takedown success, he's going to submit Volkov, and he's going to make it look easy. So I'm going with Jailton Almeida to win this by sub. I'm saying round number 1. This guy is simply relentless when it comes to takedowns, and we've seen Volkov taken down and controlled before. Obviously, Volkov can win this fight if he doesn't get taken down, but even if he doesn't, Jailton will still try continuously to do it. So we could see a boring Jailton decision, but I'm anticipating Almeida has takedown success fast, and I'm going with him for round 1 sub. Next fight on the card is Umar Nurmagomedov. Taking on Mario Batista. Remove all logic. Mario Batista is plus 500 against Umar Nurmagomedov, a guy that is not really a potent finisher. Mario Batista is plus 500 in a fight that is going to hit the scorecards at a 99% clip. Mario Batista is plus 500 in a fight where if he does not get taken down, he's going to be the way better striker, throw way more volume. Mario Batista, 10-2 in the UFC on an 8-fight winning streak, and we've seen him do well against takedowns. He defended 11 takedowns against Ricky Simone, but yes, he did get taken down 4 times by Blackshear, did get taken down 2 times by Jay Perrin, but Mario Batista is different than when he fought those guys. He's getting better every day, and he's showing it fight to fight. I like Mario because he knows what he needs to do to win fights. Against Jose Aldo, all right, let's press this guy up against the cage. Win. Against Patchy Mix, all right, let's land 170 significant strikes and not get taken down. Against Ricky Simone, all right, let's not get taken down. Let's outstrike this guy. Against Umar, all right, let's not get taken down. Let's outstrike this guy. I think he can do that. And if Mario goes out there and defeats Umar, he's going to be next in line for the title shot, and at that point, I think he can also beat Merab. I think this is the guy to beat Merab. He's got great striking, and he showed he's got pretty decent takedown defense. And if Umar's not getting the takedowns, he's going to look minus 100, not minus 600. I'm going with it. I'm going with it. Mario Batista to win this by decision. The humongous underdog. He does not deserve to be this price tag. Maybe Umar wins 29-28, but at that point, I'm going to be holding my plus 500 Mario ticket, and I'm going to be very satisfied. I think this fight plays out a lot closer than people think, and I think people just hate Mario, and I kind of like him. Next fight on the card is Virna Jandiroba taking on Mackenzie Dern. First off, this fight is a rematch. In the first fight, Mackenzie Dern won 29-28. She had striking success. She was clearly the better striker in that fight, but Jandiroba had takedown success and was clearly the better wrestler. If this fight hits the ground, Jandiroba is going to probably be the one on top. She's got the way better takedown defense. Mackenzie Dern's rocking a 25% takedown defense. She low-key wants to be taken down to activate her jiu-jitsu. But in this matchup, I don't think she's going to want to do that. Neither girl has ever been submitted in their careers. So Mackenzie Dern is not going to pull off a submission off her back. And I think Jandiroba, if she's offensively shooting takedowns, she will win this fight. And I think since she's the one that lost the first fight, she's the one that went back to the drawing board and figured out what she needs to do to win fights. And if you look at her resume, ever since she lost to Mackenzie Dern, she's been fighting way different. She does not entertain the striking whatsoever. She goes all in on takedowns. She's finding massive success with submission wins and decision wins. And lately, I think Verna's star is going up. Mackenzie Dern, yes, 2-fight win streak, but we've seen holes in her game. So I think if Jandiroba shoots the takedowns, she wins this fight. I think if it stays standing, Mackenzie Dern is going to be slightly better, but not enough better where I think I can back her as a -160 favorite. So for those reasons, kind of sounds far-fetched the way I explained it, but I'm going with Verna Jandiroba to win this by decision. If she's shooting the takedowns and not getting completely outstruck on the feet, she's going to have a tremendous path to victory. And at +140, I will be taking that. Next fight on the card is the main event. Tom Aspinall taking on Ciryl Gane. Listen, I don't often do this, but I need you to ignore everything on the screen. Just ignore it, all right? This fight does not need a good breakdown because this is about the UFC storyline, the overarching plot of the UFC. Tom Aspinall needs to win this fight. He needs to win this fight so that he could potentially fight Alex Pereira in a super fight, so that he could potentially continue to etch his name in heavyweight glory. He needs to win this fight because Jon Jones submitted Ciryl Gane in 1 round. So if Jon Jones, the guy that dropped the belt to Tom Aspinall, vacated it, loses to Ciryl Gane, that is going to be a horrific look, number one, for the heavyweight division, for the health of it, because Gane also kind of lost to Volkov, even though he got gifted the split decision. Ciryl Gane as the undisputed heavyweight champ of the UFC would be terrible. Absolutely terrible. Because then we would have Jon Jones versus Alex Pereira, no-brainer. So, I mean, I guess that would happen. Tom Aspinall would probably fall into obscurity. We just can't have it happen. I see a lot of people taking Tom Aspinall to win by sub. That is interesting. You know, if Tom goes all in on takedowns like Jon Jones did, maybe he'll have success. I don't think he's going to chin Ciryl Gane. And Tom Aspinall's, all of his wins have ended inside of 2 rounds. I'm going with a far-fetched outcome here. Tom knows he needs to win, so he's either winning by sub or he's winning by decision. So I'm going with Tom Aspinall, decision. He's never seen a round 3. So this is a very far-fetched pick/prop, but I think this fight hits the scorecards. I think both guys are insanely durable, and neither is submitting the other, in my opinion. Neither is knocking out each other, in my opinion. I think it's very high level. Ciryl Gane has a very good chance to win. That's why this breakdown sucks, because Ciryl Gane should be a pick'em. He can win this fight, totally. I just can't get behind it. Like last week, I thought Brendan Allen could win. I just couldn't get behind picking him. This week, I think Ciryl Gane can win. I just can't get behind picking him. Here we go. My most confident takes for UFC 321. If you've been paying attention, these have been slapping at an extraordinarily high clip. First off, Valter Walker money line. He should just go out there and submit Louie Sutherland in the first round. Ikram Aliskerov money line. If he doesn't get taken down at will, he's literally has every path to victory to win against Young Park. Jailton Almeida money line. He should have loads of takedown success and find the sub rather early. And my sneaky takes, this is everything I think will happen, but with less confidence than the confident takes. First off, Chris Barnett money line. The line is way too wide. I think the fight goes to decision at a high clip, and I think Chris Barnett can land enough to maybe even win that decision. Matheus Camilo money line. I think he has a lot of power, and I think he has the power to chin someone like Al-Selwady, who's got 3 KO losses. Matheus Rębecki money line. Whenever this guy's an underdog, he wins. That's simple. Azat Mirzakhanov money line. Undefeated Russian who's going up against someone with big durability issues. Need I say more? Mario Batista money line. I think this fight is super close, and his price tag is just simply absurd, so I gotta put something on it. And Verna Jandiroba money line. Yes, in their first fight, Mackenzie Dern won 29-28, but if Verna watches that first fight, takes notes and utilizes a more takedown heavy game plan, she should win. Let's make some money this weekend.